A quiet cemetery. The wind gently moves through the trees. Birds sing somewhere in the distance, as if life itself refuses to stop. An elderly man slowly walks along a familiar path, carrying a small bouquet of fresh flowers. His steps are slow, not because he has forgotten where he is going, but because he has walked this path so many times that every step carries a memory. Not far away, a young woman stands silently beside another grave. She doesn't say a word. She simply stares at the name carved into the stone. A little boy holding her hand looks up at her and asks, "Mom, if Grandpa isn't here anymore, why do we keep coming?" She smiles gently, but no words come, because some questions are too big for a simple answer. It is a question that has followed humanity for thousands of years. Every culture, every generation, every corner of the world, people return to the graves of those they loved. Some bring flowers, some bring prayers, some simply stand in silence. Some cry, some smile, some whisper words that no one else can hear. But why? If the people we love are gone, what keeps calling us back? Perhaps the answer begins long before we ever lose someone. When we're children, we believe the people we love will always be there. We run into our parents' arms after school. We laugh with our grandparents without ever thinking that one day those moments will become memories. We celebrate birthdays, gather around dinner tables, complain about chores, argue over small things, and promise ourselves there will always be another tomorrow. Then, one day, without asking permission, life changes. One chair at the dinner table stays empty. One phone number is never answered again. One familiar voice becomes a memory. The house still stands. The clock still ticks. The world keeps moving exactly as it always has. But for one family, everything feels different. The strange thing about losing someone isn't that the world stops. It's that the world keeps going while a part of yours doesn't. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. People tell us that time heals everything. But perhaps time doesn't erase love. Perhaps it simply teaches us how to carry it. That may be why our feet eventually lead us to a cemetery. Not because someone tells us to go, but because love has nowhere else to place all the memories it still carries. Have you ever noticed what people do when they stand beside a grave? Many begin talking, not loudly, not because they expect an answer, but because the conversation never really ended. "I got the job. Your granddaughter started school today. I finally fixed the old truck you loved. I wish you could have seen this. I miss you." Maybe those words aren't meant for the person beneath the ground. Maybe they're meant for the heart that has carried them for so long. Sometimes we spend weeks pretending we're strong. We smile. We work. We laugh. We tell everyone we're doing fine. Then we arrive at a quiet cemetery. And without warning, the tears finally come. Not because the pain is new, but because this is one of the few places where we don't have to pretend. No one expects us to hide our emotions here. No one asks us to be strong. For a little while, we simply remember, and remembering is one of the most human things we can do. A gravestone is only stone. It cannot hug us. It cannot answer our questions. It cannot tell us everything will be okay. Yet somehow people leave cemeteries feeling lighter than when they arrived. How is that possible? Maybe because the visit was never really about the stone. It was about allowing ourselves to remember without rushing, to cry without embarrassment, to smile at old memories without guilt, to realize that although a life has ended, the love it created is still alive inside everyone who was touched by it. Think about the people you have lost. Can you still hear their laughter? Can you still remember the way they smiled? Perhaps you still remember the advice they gave you years ago. Perhaps you still cook a recipe they taught you. Perhaps you still repeat a phrase they used to say. If so, then a part of them is still walking through your life every single day. Maybe that is why memories are so powerful. Death can take a person's presence, but it cannot erase their influence. Every act of kindness they showed, every lesson they taught, every sacrifice they made, continues through the people whose lives they changed. Perhaps that is the closest thing humans have to immortality, not living forever, but being remembered forever. Something else happens when people visit graves. They begin thinking about their own lives. Standing among hundreds of names carved into stone has a strange way of changing our priorities. Arguments suddenly seem smaller. The promotion we were obsessed with doesn't feel quite as important. The expensive things we wanted lose a little of their shine. Instead, we think about the phone call we've been meaning to make, the apology we've delayed, the parents we should visit more often, the children growing up faster than we realize. Because every gravestone quietly asks the same question. When your journey is over, what will people remember about you? Not how much money you made, not the size of your house, not how many people followed you online. They will remember how you made them feel, whether you were kind, whether you were honest, whether you were there when someone needed you, whether your love made someone else's life a little brighter. Perhaps that is why cemeteries are among the quietest places on earth, not because they are filled with death, but because they are filled with reflection. They remind us that life is precious precisely because it doesn't last forever. The little boy at the beginning asked, "If Grandpa isn't here anymore, why do we keep coming?" Maybe the better question is, what kind of love is so powerful that people continue showing it long after goodbye? Because that is what every flower placed upon a grave truly says. I still remember. I still love you. You are still part of my story. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson a cemetery can teach us. One day, every one of us will become a memory in someone else's heart. The question is not whether our name will one day be carved into stone. The question is what people will feel when they stand before it. Will they remember our kindness, our laughter, the time we gave them, the love we shared? Because in the end, we do not visit graves to remember death. We visit them to remember love. And as long as love continues to live inside the hearts of those who remember, no goodbye is ever truly the end.